Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. First of all, thank you everybody for listening to our two-part special, and thank you to Lily for all of the incredible things you shared with us. Today's episode, we're going to call today's episode the Epilogue, because we have a pretty wild milestone, a really positive one, a really uplifting milestone to talk about today, and we'll get to that in a moment. But first, Lily, Becky, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you guys again. And thank you everyone for listening. And I hope people share it or feel comfortable asking questions or sharing it with anyone they feel it might make them feel less alone in this. So yeah, it was a really nice experience. And it was lovely to talk to you guys and open up, because I feel like there was stuff that you guys had not heard or I had not gotten a chance to say to you. And that was really good for me to be able to share. Yeah. And women are amazing. People who go through this are amazing.
And I really appreciate all the messages everyone sent to Lily, to Becky, to me.
We've gotten so many wonderful messages from friends and listeners about Lily and the episode. So thank you. I, however, am not doing too great today because Lily is flying back to the Canary Islands in a few hours. And I'm not feeling great about that.
It's like there's a volcano erupting currently there right now.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just, So today's a tough day. Our summer adventure is coming to an end. So,
but we went out with a bang.
We did.
We did go out with a bang. I will say that. Should we just get into it, Shai? Do you want to?
Yeah, get in. Tell us the story. Tell us where we were. Tell us what happened. Tell us what the epilogue was.
So the epilogue is that I probably, into the pandemic. So I eventually did get pregnant and then had my baby during the pandemic, which was super fun. And I don't know exactly what moment, but I know it was a super hard moment. It was very real that I wasn't going to see you or Becky for a long time. Probably in the end, I didn't see you guys for 2 years. So it's like weird to even think about. And it was a tough moment. And Shai and I were talking on the phone, and I needed something to like hang on to that wasn't too ridiculous, but yet tangible, but could be something that was extreme. And I said, Bleachers is this band that we have all connected with that has uplifted me, I think, enormously in the last 2 years. And I said, this is before they even announced a new album. And I said to Shai on the phone, one day they are going to tour again. And they often don't even tour because Jack Antanoff, writes Taylor Swift's music and produces it and has like
he has a day job. He has a very busy day job.
He's very busy winning Grammys. And so he doesn't often get his multi-person band. It's like 5 people in that band together to tour, plus write new music. So it was a long shot. But I said, one day when they tour again, I owe it to us. I owe it to myself that no matter what, no matter where, I will get there. I will be there, and we will go to that show together. It will mean the world to me. And Shai was like, done. It's in the books. Whatever it is, wherever it is, that's it. It's like it was written, and that was it. And lo and behold, Shai, when did they announce the tour?
I went a few months ago, April or March or something like that.
They had released a few singles over the last stretch of the year, and then
great songs, by the way. The songs that came out this summer: "Stop Making It Hurt."
Wait, that was the last single that was released, right before?
No, that was the Lana Del Rey song. That was the last.
Oh, right. Okay, so second to last.
No, "Secret Life" and the the fast song that I never remember the name of that I love, but I can never remember the name of. The first song.
How
was
Dare You Want More?
Yeah, Chinatown. Then "Stop Making It Hurt." Then "How Dare You Want More?"
No, and 45 was in there too.
Oh yeah, then 45, and then there was.
Anyways, they put dates, and one of the dates is in Philadelphia.
The tickets went on pre-sale, and I positioned myself. I was in Mom and Dad's kitchen for some reason, and I wasn't in Mom and Dad's kitchen. I was in Dewey Beach with my family, and I called Lily and I said, "I'm getting these tickets no matter what." And it was during the pre-sale, and there was a code to get the tickets in pre-sale. They weren't very expensive. I give Jack Antanoff a lot of credit. He did not gorge his fans. These are $40 tickets. And I did not know that there was a code needed for the pre-sale.
And it's a good thing you, I mean, they sold out almost immediately, those tickets.
I guessed.
Shai guessed the code and guessed right.
Guessed the code. I took 3 guesses.
Guess?
I just did. I had 3 guesses, and I guessed 1, 2, and then 3. And on the 3rd guess, I got it right. Talk about meant to be. I got it right.
What was the code?
I'm not going to give it away, but I can't give away my secrets of how I intuited and deduced it. But I deduced the code. I divined the code. No extra help. I just guessed what I thought it would be. And I got it, and I got through, and I got us tickets to the DC and the Philly shows. Spoiler alert, we only went to the Philly show in the end. Gave away the DC tickets.
But so he gets
because of Lily's flight, there was a lot of complicated things. Lily's leaving from Philly. We went to the Philly show. Philly show was also at an outdoor venue.
Right. The Philly show was at an outdoor venue. Everybody had to be wearing masks.
And I would say with very good mask compliance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone around us
we're checking vaccination cards, like actual physical vaccination cards on your way in. And
the Mann Music Center.
It was a very respectful, safe feeling situation.
The Mann Center in Philadelphia continues to be one of the greatest venues I've ever been to. I have never been to a show there that wasn't amazing. And the people who work there are amazing.
Every usher.
The crowd is amazing.
So nice. We're so sweet. Did you have a good show? Have a good show. Here's the bathroom. They were just so nice, everybody there. So shout out to the man in Philadelphia. And so Shai said, so Shai said, okay, I'm going to buy the tickets. And
now I said, now I've done my part. Do your part. Figure out how to be there for this concert. You said this was a dream that we were going for. Now figure out how to be there for this concert. Because you know you're coming already. You're already coming. So, I'm leaving early.
Well, I'm not leaving early. I was here for 3 months and I had to go home with my kids, and my older son started school, and I had to, he was starting kindergarten, and I had to get home. And I was like, well, maybe I could fly back for it because it's at the end of the September. I was leaving at the beginning of September. And in the end, everybody rallied. My husband changed his ticket with my sons to push out their trip as close to school starting as possible. And then they left so that I'd only be away from them for 2 weeks. And then I changed my ticket, and me and my little guy stayed an extra 2 weeks to go to the show. And in the end, we were almost thwarted by Becky's little one getting like a stomach flu at the last minute.
Yeah. Becky just left her barfing child on a stoop
I was like, oh, great.
Virginia.
I was like, I knew something was going to happen. Becky's not going to have to come. It's not going to be the same without Becky. Becky rallied. Everybody rallied. It was a storm.
There was a storm.
The man rallied.
Listen, by the time you're on your second kid, a little bit of barf is not going to keep you from going to a concert. It's fine.
So Becky and I drive up. The man changes the venue. It was going to be all outdoors, but there was a monsoon. So they moved us to the covered venue, and we got there early because there's vaccine cards and all these things. We end up getting there early. And because we got there early and it was first come, first serve, we ended up in the 13th row, dead center. You could see up Jack Antanoff's nose. And then there were 2 opening acts that were fantastic, Claude and then this band Muna, who I'd never heard of before. And they were outstanding. If you had played me their music on the radio, I would have been like, oh, neat, electronic pop, cool. They've got some catchy hooks. Live, they blew me away. And I have to say, they also blew the drummer's parents away. How do we know? Because this nice little old couple were sitting next to us videotaping the whole show. And Becky and Lily say, that must be someone in the band's parents, because no one else would have their camera on with the floodlight.
Right. Like it's obviously a mom.
That's obviously a mom.
A mom has the flash on the phone.
Right.
And Becky was like, and they're not dancing. So they're clearly here to see someone in the band.
Everybody was dancing. I mean,
they were bopping along, but they weren't filming the way.
They were not dancing. They were concentrated, very focused on one point on the stage and not moving, so they can make sure to watch that one point.
And they look like the drummer. I was like, I think it's the drummer. It looks like their son.
And then the Muna band leader, she got to the mic and said that it was the drummer's hometown, and then his parents were in the audience, and then everyone in the section must have realized this and turned around, and they were all patting them on the back and congratulating them. It was very, very cute.
And then just to confirm it really was them, he did come out after his set and sit with them to watch Bleachers play.
That was very, very, very cool. And it was it was really also refreshing to be at a show which we did not realize was going to happen. Sometimes you go to a show in the opening act, no one knows them, no one's paying attention. People were very serious about both of these opening acts. Everybody that was at this show was almost as excited for the opening act as we were at the main show. I would say that there was almost a sensual experience for some of the audience members.
There's a lot of people touching themselves.
There was people fully touching themselves during the first two opening acts.
Singing along and going full up. But what I find amazing is that I saw many, many people extremely excited for all three shows. That basically is like someone getting a ticket to a music festival, but only getting to see the bands they want to see.
Yeah.
Like people got like a 3-for-1 with this ticket. They were really into it, which was nice. It feels good after all this time to be able to go to a concert and Jack Antanoff did say it. There's no cynicism here. People are there just loving it and soaking it in and being away from all the stuff and, it impacts you after all that time. And I think they would have given an amazing concert anyways, but they repeated many times that this was special because they hadn't played in so long.
And he was so gracious to the audience. He thanked everyone. He talked about how hard it is to get out of the house, make plans, do all these things and before the pandemic. And then how hard it was for everyone to get into his show. And he put everything on the table, jumping off parts of the stage. Every band member played 4 different instruments at different times. There was so much energy. They really laid it all on the table. I loved every minute of it. And Lily loved it from the opening minute. Lily wept from the first notes of the first songs.
I did.
And the three of us.
I love that song very much. The song is called 91 and it's the first song on the album. And we were taking bets. We hadn't looked at any set list and we were taking bets what song they would play. And you had ideas or whatever. And I said, if I was him, I would start that. You have to start it off with 91. It's such a great opener. And he did. And it was just so beautiful. And then you and Becky hugged me at that moment. And I just started crying.
That's true. We were the only weirdos at the show hugging each other most of the show. There was 3. They're like, who are these weird adult siblings who came to a show and hugged each other the entire time?
I mean, there were people like full on just like grabbing their own boobs during this show, but we were definitely the weirdos.
Yeah, we were the siblings who hugged. So it was really special. It was a culmination. It was making something hopeful and incredible and joyful happen after what had been this incredibly difficult year on a normal year, let alone everything that you had gone to. And it really was the epilogue of this wild story that you told in our last episode also. So we're really, truly grateful that you made it the trip, Lily, and that we were able to put this night together in place of this last minute barfing from Becky's kids too. Way to go, Beck.
Thanks.
All right. Now, this is still a pop culture podcast. We talked about pop cultures. Everyone should check out the Bleachers. Check out Muna. Should check out Claude. But you should also check out some movies that deal with fertility. And we're going to first talk about some comedies. We're going to do a bit of a comparathon. There aren't that many, but we're talking about specifically some comedies that talk about in vitro fertilization. And these are funny movies. So if you want to look at the lighter side of these, this is sort of like this is a special features DVD of last week's episode. So the first one I'm going to put on the table here, and it's going to go up against a classic. But the first one I'm going to put up, and if you haven't seen it, just pretend you saw it, and then you can decide. Just see. So it's called Baby Makers. It stars what's his name, Schneider he was in Parks and Rec, and Olivia Munn, and I believe it was made by the Broken Lizard guys. And it's about a guy whose sperm is losing motility or something, and he wants to break into a sperm bank where he had donated sperm many years earlier in order to get his wife pregnant now. And so it's, kind of a slapstick madcap movie. I I remember thinking the premise was wacky enough, and I liked the cast, and remembering there was like a few funny parts, but it's definitely not a good movie. It's definitely not a good movie. So that's the first one in the comparathon. Next, and it's going to go against. It's actually going to go against Baby Mama with. Baby Mamas with Amy Poehler and
Tina Fey
and Sigourney Weaver, right?
Dax Shepard
and Will Arnett, isn't it? Oh, no, it's Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard.
Yeah,
Dax Shepard. And that one's another one that I think was good, but after it was one of the ones right after Mean Girls, and I feel like it wasn't remotely in the world.
It was pretty
Girls.
funny.
I thought it was pretty funny, but after Tina Fey made Mean Girls, I felt like the expectations for Baby Mama were pretty high. It was because her and Tina Fey are so amazing together. But I mean, her and Amy Poehler are so great together. But that was another one where I was like, it was kind of funny. And I love Dax too, but it was okay. So Baby Makers and Baby Mama.
I'm going to pick Baby Mama.
Obviously, Baby Mama. I like that movie.
Baby
Sorry,
Mama.
You're not going to talk us into not picking Baby Mama.
No. That's a no-brainer. Baby Mama, because I love all those actors, and even a weak movie from Tina Fey and Amy Poehler is going to be it's going to be much better than the Baby Makers movie, which again I saw, but I wouldn't say is worth anyone's time. That's a meh. It's a reluctant meh, but it's a meh. Okay. All right. Now here's one that brings together two of the most unlikely pair, but they're an unlikely pair that have had some success together. And this one is called Junior. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, and I want to say Emma Thompson is in this one.
Emma Thompson.
And Emma Thompson, Oscar winner, Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
And these are two doctors who decide to, which I think if you made it now could be a really interesting progressive tale.
I think it really is ahead of its time.
Well, if you'd have to make it differently and
yes.
with different actors and different premise, but in the sense that when you talk about pregnancy now, you're really moving beyond just women. You're really talking about people who can get pregnant, people with uteruses, right? You're beyond the gender of just female. So in that sense, maybe, but I think the movie is like god awful. And
you do? I remember I haven't given it a rewatch.
It is a terrible movie.
I think it's an insensitive, terrible movie.
But there are just certain scenes I remember thinking were so funny.
Like the entire premise of it is that this macho guy is going to be like, this is the only way he can be empathetic to pregnant women. But my nipples are sensitive. Like that's like the big revelation.
I guess I need to give it a rewatch. I haven't seen it since it came out, but I remember
I just want to say,
it was funny.
How about men just respect women and listen to them without having to be pregnant? Let's just do that.
Sure, but this was made in like the late 90s? When was this made?
I'm gonna check.
Probably the 90s. And
for the 90s, this was acceptable.
Now, I always told my wife,
that's early
90s.
I would say, I always told my wife, if I could get pregnant, like if we could have alternated kids, I totally would have.
Well, we know.
It would have been so fun.
We know.
I'm always a little jealous of her that she got to be pregnant.
Yeah. I don't know. I know it's not a great movie, but there were some really funny parts of it, and it's just very special to see Arnold Schwarzenegger pregnant.
And I will say he does reprise his co-acting or whatever, his working with DeVito and
what's her name from Kindergarten Cop?
And what's her name from Kindergarten Cop? Angela Reed? Pamela Reed.
Pamela Reed
is in it too. She's pregnant in it.
Oh, I love Pamela Reed. Pamela Reed is also in Cadillac Man.
In what?
Cadillac Man.
Oh, okay. I mean, she's great.
An underrated Robin Williams movie.
Oh, I have to see it.
Robin Williams and Tim Robbins. You got to go back and watch that movie. I love that movie.
But Kindergarten Cop, her and him are fantastic. And then you've got him and DeVito. So I think there's magic in the seriousness of Emma Thompson. I think there's magic in the movie that as a kid, that's probably all I connected with. Did not care about, didn't understand any of the appropriateness or the offensiveness of this movie. I should give it a rewatch, but I think I might have to pick it over Baby Mama. I don't know. That's tough. I guess Baby Mama wins.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Baby Mama, although I am rooting. I have a special place in my heart for Junior. But if I'm going to rewatch one of them, I'm going to rewatch Baby Mama.
Ivan Reitman.
Look, I love Ivan Reitman, but
me too.
Please.
That movie was
all right.
wackadoodle.
Now, this is a movie that the next one is not one I've seen, but it's called What to Expect When You're Expecting. Is this just the same as the one?
Book.
Well, no, there's this movie of He's Just Not That Into You. Is this just the same movie, but people are pregnant? Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
movie.
it's the same.
Allie watches that movie all the time.
You're following a lot of different storylines on related topics, and some of them intersect.
And people live in houses that no normal people can afford.
Yeah. But and to be fair, there's like infertility. There's like 2 infertility storylines, I think, in the whole thing. The whole movie isn't about that, so I almost feel like it's a bit hard to rate because overall, as a movie, I think it's extremely funny, and I would pick that over Baby Mama. But the fertility storylines are one in an ensemble of storylines, so it's not the dominant story. So I don't know if this being the specific topic, I can choose it according to the rules.
I think you can. I think you can.
Well, is it a better movie than Baby Mama?
Yes.
And is it enough of...
I don't know. Is it better? I don't know, but it's very
better.
funny. The scenes with Elizabeth Banks,
she
is
in
the IVF
funnier
part
than
of the,
anything.
Is she in vitro part of the movie?
Because she ends up conceiving without intervention.
But is that part of the story for her?
Yeah, she
But that's the same thing in Baby Mama. Spoiler alert, in the end, she
doesn't
also,
use,
it's a surprise at the end that she ends up having Dax's baby. But the whole movie, you think she's been in vitro fertilized, which I thought was one of the sort of oddest cop-out story devices in Baby Mama, which made Baby Mama kind of ridiculous.
That's interesting. It's an interesting point.
She's supposed to be a surrogate, right? And in the end, she's not really a surrogate, right? Like they completely dodge the whole story of what Baby Mama is supposed to be about. They negate the whole thing that they're talking about throughout the movie.
That's a really
I'm
good
pick
point.
What to expect, because
I watched the whole movie about this woman being a surrogate, and she's not really a surrogate at the end. It's
right. Although in the end, in What to Expect, no one actually does. I don't know if Jennifer Lopez's character had tried IVF or just can't. She can't do it. I don't know.
Either way, which one is better? Baby Mama.
I like What to Expect. If you're looking for something fun and to laugh at, Elizabeth Banks crushes it. So does Brooklyn Decker. I think everybody's great in that movie. It's
okay. All right. So What
hilarious.
to Expect When You're Expecting. All right. And now
it gives an honest, hold on. It really gives an honest take on like the amount a human being could fart pregnant. And I think that's always important.
But then
showcase.
Also how you feel as a pregnant person being around other people who are pregnant.
Yeah.
That's like a very how you perceive other people who are pregnant. Anyways, that's just overall a great movie about pregnancy, fertility, has some good infertility storylines. Yeah.
That's the winner so far.
All right. Now, last in the comparathon. This movie takes science to a whole new level where a group of men, a group of top scientists, mix their sperm into like a melange and impregnate a female scientist. And she gives birth to one superhuman child, but surprisingly, the remainder creates a second twin, and thus the twins are born, and it's the movie Twins, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. So they are twice, this pair is twice on this list.
Which says
do you remember seeing that movie as a kid?
It says a lot about the 90s.
Here's why I'm not here's why I'm not picking
88,
twins. Here's why I'm not picking twins.
Could that movie be made today?
Picking twins?
Here's why I'm not picking twins. It's very specific to me because Twins is one of those movies that when I was a young child, probably when you could rent it on VHS, right? I was probably 6, 8 years old, 10 years old. This is the type of movie that at that time, early 90s, was an adult movie deemed somehow appropriate for a young child to watch as if it was normal.
It's also Ivan Reitman, and the
First of all,
rules
it's
are different.
Really, I'm literally in the middle of talking. I'm literally in the middle of talking.
Becky, you were only 4. I mean, you were 4. That's practically an adult in the 80s. That's like old enough to see Die Hard in the 80s.
So when I saw it on VHS, I'm sure when I was 6 years old, adults thought, oh, this is totally appropriate for a child. And I watched it. I didn't understand it.
I saw it when I was my youngest daughter's age.
Right. So I just felt like I didn't understand it. I guess I knew I was supposed to be funny, but it was also somehow very upsetting at the same time. And I've always walked away from that movie being like, I have bad memories of it. Like I don't associate that with a funny movie. I associate that with a movie that I had to watch when I was younger, but didn't understand, and not in a good way. So I'm still picking what to expect.
When Danny DeVito tells Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I think he rips his shirt and he has to go to a store and he buys the Born to Be Bad shirt and he's wearing his shorts. He says, "You look like an Albanian sheep herder." And so he takes him to the suit store and they buy those tailored suits.
And they're wearing the identical outfit.
They're wearing the identical outfit. Man.
I was 6 at the time, so it's basically like being in my 20s for 80s movies.
I mean, I guess I'll rewatch it as an adult and give it another try, but as a kid, that is not a movie I enjoyed watching.
I loved it as a kid. I'm still picking what to expect because the inaccuracy of what is capable with the science, I feel has to be offensive to someone.
It did lead to the twins, the twins theory, where sometimes you do look at people and you go, yeah,
that's
one
a
got all the
situation.
good.
So let's just go over the cast. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, Kelly Preston,
late Kelly Preston,
Chloe Webb, David Caruso in a small role as the guy managing the parking garage that Danny DeVito does his sketchy car stealing scam in.
Amazing.
And Maury Chaykin, who I believe is an alum of Dad's high school, plays one of the mobsters.
He was also, may he rest in peace.
And apparently Heather Graham, when she was really young, was in that movie.
She's probably one of the babies that they end up having.
And some guy named...
Because they all end up having twins.
I thought Frank Langella was in this movie, but I guess he's in Junior.
No, he's in Junior.
Okay. and then
Both
some guy...
by Ivan Reitman.
And then some guy named Nehemiah Persoff. So there's also people from Synagogue in this movie. I love Twins. For me, Twins is the winner because that is...
And ironically, the one that is the most about IVF, I guess.
I guess, sort of, yeah, or genetic, I don't know, something or other. I guess if I were to take one more, and this isn't a comedy, and we didn't really, let's segue to serious movies. And I actually am going to throw one in at the last minute here that we didn't talk about, but I would say it is one of the most beautiful movies ever made. And it's really more about not just the ethics, but it's about nature versus nurture. And it's about, you can plan and you can do all of these things and people can question the ethics. And ultimately we do have to remember these kids are human, and there is a certain amount of things that just can't be determined by all the science and the genetics, as much as you can try. And to me, Gattaca is one of the most amazing movies ever made.
Amazing.
Ever made.
Amazing. I totally
and
agree.
when I think of times in our life, and when I think of Lily going through her period, when I think of, our dad or our mom as inspirational people in our lives, and I think of moments where I've had to go the distance in parts of my life, and I think of the final scene in Gattaca when the one brother who's supposed to be genetically perfect talking to the other brother, asking him how he's able to swim as far as he's able to swim, and he says, "I didn't save anything for the
I think about that. I think about that scene a lot too.
Literally one of the most inspiring things ever made, and that movie doesn't necessarily deal with the concept of in vitro, although maybe it does, but it does in the sense that it does deal with the sort of the manipulation of the sperm and the eggs and the biology of all that. So I'm going to we're segueing now to just mention some movies that deal with some of the concepts we've been talking about.
Sure, but let's just, for people who may not be in the know, assisted fertility does not create, perfect specimens. It just gets you pregnant. Like,
I know Lily's kid.
People shouldn't confuse the science.
Lily's kid does have telekinesis.
Well, no, he's resistant to cold.
And he's resistant to cold.
He was cryogenically frozen.
And he's resistant to cold. And I saw him lift a car. But
other than that,
he's totally normal. So some of the other serious ones that we noted, we talked about. Juno deals with infertility. It's one of the elements that Jennifer Garner's character deals with, and I think it's very sensitive in that film, the way they deal with that. And she puts in a beautiful performance. Jennifer Garner, by the way, she's so awesome.
She's a national treasure.
Love her.
If you don't follow her on Instagram, do yourself a favor and start right now.
My kids love Jennifer Garner.
Who doesn't?
She's so.
If you don't love Jennifer Garner, just
the Yes movie, the Yes Day movie is a very cute movie to watch with my kids.
Yeah.
And then there's some other ones that I don't know much about, but Lily and Becky, you have mentioned. So why don't you take us through those?
Yeah.
Private Life.
So I think there's a lot of movies that are made about this topic. There's a bunch of documentaries or whatever. There's some recent stuff that I think if people are interested in, has gotten some fantastic reviews. One is Private Life with Catherine Hahn and Paul Giamatti, which takes a more realistic approach in the storytelling of this couple who are struggling to have children, I believe in New York City, and deals with, the immense difficulty of this, taking on this endeavor, but also the money aspect of it. And I have not been able to see it yet, but because I don't think I could handle something so realistic personally, but I read that it's excellent. And other stuff that made me think of, or I've read, is that it's often side characters. You don't really get a movie that the main topic is this and told in a serious way, and that is important, I think, because I read a writer wrote, if people like war stories, wouldn't they like a story like this? And so, we go to the movies to see serious topics, and this is so prevalent in our society. So that's interesting. Then there's the new Alana Glazer, Justin Theroux movie called False Positive, which is more over the top kind of horror social satire about the topic. That I'm more interested in seeing, because I could be down for seeing a movie about this topic that's more, in a surrealistic vein, because it's less, I guess, realistic. But I think these both sound good, but these are neither movies I'm going to seek out to watch. If you see them and you tell me they're awesome, maybe, but I'm not. I think I could see False Positive. It's got also great reviews. And then Master of None, season 3, episode 4, I think it is. You have on the notes episode 5, but I think it's episode 4. Has been hailed as this beautifully told story of Lena Waithe and Naomi Ackie's characters starting the journey to have a baby with assisted fertility treatment. And I've read that it's just really, really well done. So that's another thing that's, if people are interested in. It's good to see that these stories are being told in different ways. The comedy is easier to swallow, and I think that that's great. I mean, who doesn't love comedy? But again, as we're looking at these comedy movies, very few seem to actually be about they're ridiculous, or in the end, not really about the IVF or fertility. And it's good to see that other stories be told about this topic. The percentage of women that go through this is enormous, and it's part of our society. So it's nice to see it being included in storytelling. And Becky had one.
Yeah, and then in the show Masters of Sex, which I think is a Showtime series that was on, the main character is played by Michael Sheen, is a fertility specialist, and his wife has fertility issues, and he's treating her, and that's a big part of the first couple seasons, the storyline. And when does it take place? In the 60s, I think, and it's a really interesting look back on historically what was done then and the science then. So I mean, it's not detailed, and it's not a documentary by any means, but kind of gives you a window into it. So that was super cool. And then a movie that is out that we haven't seen, but we've talked about all being really interested in seeing is, I think it's on Hulu, right?
Okay.
It's called Together. It stars Ed Helms and
Patty Harrison, I believe her name is.
Yeah. And from the trailer, it looks like it's about a man who is single, wants to have a baby, and has a surrogate, and, going through that process. And it looks funny and emotional. So I'm definitely interested in seeing that.
That's cool. Also a different perspective of, right? A cis man who, I assume he is. From the trailer, that's the impression you get.
Yes, Lily.
Also, haven't seen Ed Helms in a while, so it'll be interesting to see. Right. I feel like Jason Sudeikis looks enough like him. He's really eating up all of the square-headed white dude with brown hair parts right now. So, and speaking of Sudeikis, I would say my one shout out and rec this week, as we transition to that, is, well, not shout out rec, just a quick discussion, because I think we should just do a Ted Lasso episode. I don't want to get too deep into Ted Lasso, but Ted Lasso, the Coach Beard episode was maybe one of the worst things I've ever seen. I love the actor, I love the show, but as far as bottle episodes go, the show had such an incredible momentum going, and it was like, it was such a letdown. Episode. And it was also because it was the last one we were all watching together. They got a little bit back last night. I don't know if you've seen the funeral episode.
I did not. I've broken up with the show. I'm going to get back together with the show.
I would wait.
I'm so pissed.
But this means that season 3 is going to be incredible, which is historically what happens with a lot of show. A season 1 that pulls you in, season 2 that you're like, okay, not sure where this is going. And then typically season 3 knocks your socks off.
So I would say is that
you gotta stick
the second this episode after Coach Beard is clearly getting the momentum back, but I would say wait another week and watch 2 in a row, because there's so much to come back from what a momentum killer that Coach Beard episode was, that I would have needed 2 episodes to really get going. The funeral episode that happened was pretty good. But I will say the biggest fail of this season, it's overall been really good. I love the characters. What they're doing with Ted and Ted's own journey is amazing. But it's
biggest fail was not enough Sophia, obviously.
Well, obviously, but they've interrupted Ted's journey and Jamie and Roy, like the main characters, which are to me Ted, Rebecca, Jamie, Keely, and Roy. Those are the 5 most interesting characters, who have very interesting things happening to them. I'm now watching Nate, Coach Beard, Sam, random guys on the team that I don't care about, the Nedspith, whatever his name, Leslie, who it's nice to see his family and stuff, but I feel like I have double the people I'm following right now, and I only care about 5. But the biggest one that aggravates me the most is Nate. I cannot understand what they have, just like it seems that they wrote his part and then mixed up the puzzle pieces in the story.
Or one person wrote a part of it and they were like, now you take a turn. And then they wrote another part of it, and they did not get a consensus.
So there's no continuity parts. Anyways, but Ted Lasso. So what I would say for fans of the show, which is still amazing, is that if you didn't like the Coach Beard episode, wait 2 episodes and watch 2 in a row, because the funeral one was good, but it wasn't enough to get me back going.
I'd even tell people
just skip that episode. Yeah, skip the Coach Beard After Dark episode. Watch that at the end of this season as if it was like a fun special feature you got on the DVD, like a short film that was just like, hey, want to see this fun random thing we created? And then that would be fun. But to put it on in the middle of the season when there's such high stakes for all the characters. Oh. Now, all that being said, I feel like there's nothing else we watched. So
I mean, I started watching Sex Education, the newest season of it. I am really, really liking it.
I'm so excited, but I have to wait for
I finished The Chair. I really overall loved it. I was very interrupted in the last episode, so I can't tell if the last episode was great or not. But other than that, it was wonderful. So I've seen those 2 things. That's about it.
All right. And I started Kim's Convenience at Mom's Recommendation on Netflix.
Yeah, we started that last night too.
Very
Last
cute.
few episodes.
Very cute. Very cute.
Very cute. Very Toronto.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Becky, where can people follow you?
At Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
Lily, where can people follow you?
Chichi, CHICHIK Gomez on Twitter, and at the Friday Night Movie pod, but not pod, just Friday Night Movie on Instagram.
Yeah. And you can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram, at Friday Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram, or FridayNightMoviePod.com. We got to run because Lily's got a plane to catch. So check the notes for all of the things we follow. Baltimore Comic Con is coming up. Becky and I will be there masked and vaxxed. We'll be interviewing people live. We are going to be right next to the cosplay contest sign-up booth. So cosplayers, we definitely want to hang with you. And the music will kick in. We'll see you soon, Lily. Safe trip.
Literally, bye.
Love you. Bye. Catch you later.
Love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
See you in 2 years.
No, don't say that.
See you later, guys. Love you. Bye.